back in our 20s, I could send a group text out at 4 o'clock on a Friday saying we're meeting here for happy hour. 8 out of 10 people would be there.
Yes.
Now, we plan things a month in advance.
Yeah.
We use the little app that like figures out the best date.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Christy Wright Show. I'm so excited because today we are talking about how important friendships are. And you are gonna get to hear from two of my very best friends in real life, Jenny Detheridge and Sarah Kirkland, and we're gonna talk about what makes a friendship great and how to make it happen in your life. But first, let's just talk about the importance of friendships. Now here's the thing. Friendships are one of those things that I think, to be honest, I take for granted. I have always loved having a lot of friends and seeking those friendships out. A lot of my friends today are friends that I've had since college. One of my very best friends has been my friend since 3rd grade. So I love making friends and keeping friends, but the reality is you don't always have the opportunity to keep your friends through your whole life. Maybe you've moved. Maybe you've been in a different life stage. Maybe you've just parted ways for one reason or another. That's why I want to give you 4 specific things that you can do to have great friendships in your life. You know, one of the groups that I love so much is my Starting 5 girls group. Now, let me tell you where this group started. So I'm going to take you back to 2006. This is right after we graduated college. Me, my friend Jenny, my friend Sarah, who you're going to hear from in a little bit, and 2 other girls decided to take this random trip to Myrtle Beach. And y'all, we had dreams of being on the beach and having a drink and getting sun, getting tan, all of the wonderful, relaxing things you think of when you think of a beach vacation. And it was not that. It was raining the entire time. I mean, like monsoon raining, the kind of rain where you don't even want to go out in it. I think at one point we walked from our vehicle to the restaurant, and just from the parking lot to the restaurant, y'all, we were drenched. Our hair was soaking wet. Our clothes were soaking wet. It was not what we had in mind. But you know what? We had the best time. We laughed, we talked, we wrote songs about ex-boyfriends. We were crazy and had so much fun just being girls. But the cool thing is, that trip was the first trip of many. We have taken a girls' trip every single year since that year. That's a lot of trips, y'all. Through all of the weddings and babies and moves and job changes and life changes, we continue to make these friendships a priority. And it's not just a once-a-year thing where we get together on this vacation, which is awesome, but we keep up with each other throughout the year, even though 2 of the girls live in different states. Friendships are so important. That's just one example. But it's amazing how if you make them a priority, it can change your entire life. Now, I want to give you 4 things you can do that will make friendships great in your life as well. Even if you don't have friends that you've gone on a girls' trip with every single year since 2006, there are specific things that you can do to have great friendships. So I want to give you a few steps that you can take. Number 1, this is super simple, but we miss it. Seek them out. You have to actually put yourself out there and seek out these friendships. They're not just gonna magically appear on your doorstep. They might, that would be crazy and a really cool God story. But in case they don't, you have to seek them out. Where are people hanging out that have similar interests that you do? Maybe it's the parents of some of your kids' friends. What does that look like for you? You know, recently, I think I've shared this story before, but I had an idea to reach out to a Bible teacher here in Nashville named Christy. I've always been a fan of hers. I love her teaching. I think she's brilliant. She teaches at the church that I go to and preaches there. And I've been following her on Instagram for a while. And one day during my quiet time, I just got a little bit of courage and I was like, I'm just gonna message her. I'm just gonna reach out and seek out this friendship. And y'all, I drafted a message and I felt silly as can be. And I was like, hey, Christy, I'm a big fan of yours. I think you're really awesome. I just didn't know if you might want to get coffee sometime and hang out. I just think you seem really cool and I'd like to know you. That's what it said. It felt a little bit like writing a letter in 3rd grade, like, will you be my friend? Check yes or no. I didn't say, can I pick your brain? I didn't say, will you mentor me? I didn't ask anything from her to get from her. I just said what I thought, which is, I think you're really great. Would you like to hang out sometime? And it's amazing how when you put yourself out there, it begins to get the ball rolling. She messaged back. We've had coffee several times. We go to sushi. She's been here on the show, if any of you all remember that episode. And now I have a new awesome friend. That only happened, though, because I sought it out. So I don't know what that looks like for you. And I don't know what kind of interests you have or what life stage you're in or what you're looking for in a friend. But I just want to encourage you. It's not going to happen on its own. It's going to happen if you seek it out. So your first step to having great friendships is simply to seek it out. Your second step to having great friendships is to make time for them. I know, you know this. You're like, I got it. But here's the thing. If it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. I've shared several examples with you guys before of, for example, when Rachel, Annie F. Downs, and I went to Vegas. That happened because we put it on the calendar. When you put something on the calendar, you commit to it. When you commit to it, it actually happens. So all those people that you run into in the church lobby and say, oh, we should get together sometime. You haven't, have you? No, you haven't. Why? Because you haven't put it on the calendar, or because you don't really mean it, or both. Either is fine. But here's the thing. If you want it to happen, if you want to have time with friends, like anything in life, it has to go on the calendar. So the next time you run into an old friend, or the next time you run into someone in the church lobby, or the next time you meet a mom that you really connect with, say, hey, let's hang out. And she says, okay, cool. Say, okay, how about Thursday? How about 3 o'clock? Does that work for you? Pick a date, pick a time, commit to it, and put it on the calendar. If you actually put it on the calendar and make time for friendships, they will actually happen and improve and get better and enhance your life. So the first way to have great friendships is to seek them out. The second way is to make time for them. The third way is to keep up in between. Now, here's what I mean by that. For me, in this stage of life, I don't see my friends near as often as I used to. In my 20s, we hung out every other day. We were doing stuff all the time, nonstop, because we had nothing else to do but work and hang out with each other. But now, we've got a million responsibilities. We've got commitments and kids' sports and all these things going on. The reality is we're not going to see each other near as often, and that's okay. It might be once a month instead of once a week. That's totally fine. But I think it's really important to keep up with each other in between those times. Now, I'll tell you, one of the ways that me and my girlfriends do this is through Marco Polo. This is not an ad for Marco Polo. Marco Polo is not a sponsor of the show. It's just an app that we use to catch up with each other. Maybe you do it through text. Maybe you do it through FaceTime, whatever you do. Just make time to keep up in between the hangout times, because a lot happens in a month. A lot happens between when you hung out the last time and when you might have a chance to hang out the next time. You know, one of the things that's funny about Marco Polo, my sister, I have a half-sister that is 16 years younger than me. She was reaching out to me multiple times to catch up through FaceTime, and I never could do FaceTime when she wanted to FaceTime. The kids were screaming, or it was dinner time, or I was in the car or something. And so one of the times she said, hey, can you FaceTime? You can tell this is very what they do in her generation to keep up with each other. I said, hey, have you ever heard of this app? It's called Marco Polo. Y'all, I felt so cool. I'm like, let me introduce some technology to my sister. Let me help her along with something that could help us keep up. Maybe not in real time like FaceTime, but later, delayed. You can watch it when you're ready to. I said, hey, have you ever heard of Marco Polo? It's this awesome app where you can video chat and keep up with each other, even if you can't FaceTime at the same time. She wrote back, LOL, everyone in their 30s and 40s loves that app. Okay, Whitney, okay, showing my age. Maybe it's because I'm older, maybe it's because I'm busy and we can't watch things in real time, but find a way to keep up with your friends in between hanging out. You may not be able to hang out as often as you want to. You may not be able to hang out as much as even whenever people are having things like birthdays and parties and baby showers. But be sure that you find a way to keep up in between those times so you know what's going on and you're making those friendships a priority. You're making your friends feel seen and heard, and they get to keep up with what's going on with you as well. Now, the fourth way to have great friendships is the most important. If you want to have great friendships in your life, you need to be a great friend. So often I think we always seek what we want in life. I want someone to be a good friend to me. I want someone to notice me. I want someone to compliment me. I want someone to be there for me. And we're consumers to the core, and we're looking for what we want and not thinking about what we need to give. But what's so interesting in life is if you give what you want to get, you will get what you want to give. You will actually get those things in return. So start by giving what you want to get. I learned this lesson kind of the hard way a couple years ago. I was going through this kind of a rough day with Matt, and I was just getting frustrated, and I just felt like, gosh, he doesn't see me, he doesn't notice me, like he doesn't, like, does he even notice what I do and how hard I work? And I just wasn't feeling seen. And in that moment, when I'm just focusing on all the things I want to get from my husband, I wish he would compliment me more, I wish he would notice me more, all these things that I want to get, I felt God prompt me and say, Christy, give what you want to get. Why don't you give compliments? Why don't you give attention? Why don't you notice what he's doing? And y'all, in that moment, I was so convicted at how selfishly I had been thinking. And I started doing it. I started focusing on what I could give to my husband, how I could support him and love him and notice him and celebrate him. And it was amazing how it took the focus off of me and everything I want to get, and it improved our marriage, and I actually felt closer to him. And what was so cool is the byproduct is he reciprocated. He complimented me, and it became this positive cycle versus the negative. You can do the same thing in your friendships. Give what you want to get. If you want to have good friends, be a good friend. It's as simple as the golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. I know these are super practical things. Seek out friendships, make time for them, keep up with each other in between, and be a good friend. But if you do these 4 things, watch how you'll not only have more friends, but you'll have better friendships. Hey everyone, Easter is such a special time, and I love sharing the Easter story with my kids. But as you can imagine, sometimes that conversation can get a little tricky. That's why I love Minnow. Minnow has shows that kids love with values that parents trust. And with a ton of episodes specifically on Easter, they help me answer all of my kids' questions about God. Celebrate Easter in a new way with your family this year with Minnow. You can go to gominnow.com or download the Minnow app. And if you use the code Christy, you'll get your first month free. All right, y'all, I'm so excited because I get to sit down with my real life best friends, Jenny Deathridge and Sarah Kirkland. Y'all, this is so fun.
This is wild.
This is wild. You're like, what have you roped me into? I will tell y'all a backstory that I rope them into things all the time. These two came to Business Boutique several months ago when I texted y'all and I was like, hey, we're going to do this dance thing. I just need you to show up. And they were there. They were there dancing front and center. Thanks for being here.
We're excited.
This is fun. I know it's weird because it's a set and there's a couch and it's not real. It's not real. But I thought it would be fun when we're talking about friendship because this is one of those things I was just telling y'all even like before we started recording. It's not, I don't feel like it's easy for everybody. Yeah. And I feel like it's something that all of us are really grateful to have. Yeah. You know, when we take a trip every year, we'll first back up and explain the starting 5 group of girls, but we take a trip every year and we're always amazed that we get to do it and everybody else around us seems to be amazed. Like, how do y'all take this trip every year? How do y'all, and so I thought, well, let's talk about it. Like, let's talk about how we make those things happen. But first, let's explain the starting 5. Y'all have heard me talk about the starting 5. Jenny, tell everybody what the starting 5 is.
I had to think about this. I remember how the starting 5 started. Yeah. So this was back in the day. 2006 maybe. Okay. We were all out downtown on 2nd Avenue, and one of us, I really don't remember who, we were out dancing, and someone kept doing this move.
The swish.
I don't remember this at all.
And we just kept doing that and laughing.
We're really good dancers, guys. Yeah.
And it made no sense that anyone was doing that. So then that's what started the whole starting 5, because it's a basketball reference. Yes. So that's how we named ourselves the starting 5.
But wait, we got to back up. So before we were officially the starting 5, we were graduating from college. Jenny and I worked a terrible job together. I had convinced her to move to Nashville. Christy was already in Nashville, and then we roped Beth and Susan in for a Myrtle Beach trip.
For this trip,
At that point, it was kind of, we all knew each other, but it was still kind of random.
Yeah.
And
so it was always the 3 of us, but then you're the one that pulled Beth in. Yeah. Beth is our friend that lives in Knoxville, Tennessee. Yeah. Susan is our friend that now lives in New York
City. Yeah.
And almost said Manhattan. Yeah. But lives in New York City. And then, so back in 2006, you're the one that pulled them in. And like you said, we didn't really know them as well, but that trip.
And so that was the trip that really brought us all together because it rained the whole time, remember? So we were sitting in this tiny hotel room pouring rain.
Not a nice hotel at all, by the way.
Nice.
We had
We're
no
so
money.
Poor.
I
We just graduated college.
I picked it. It only had 2 double beds, and there were 5 of us. And so
And
I got the
We
cot,
fought about who had to sleep on the cot.
which
You
was
lost.
like this.
Yeah.
It didn't ever go back this way.
Yeah,
So
it
was like
poured
that.
raining the whole time, and so we drank wine out of coffee mugs
That the
and
hotel provided.
and
Sure.
made up songs about ex-boyfriends because Sarah had brought it.
Sorry.
That doesn't bond you together for life.
It was, we sealed the deal. Do you remember the big cutting edge technology? You had borrowed your parents' Suburban and it had OnStar.
yeah.
And it was like, this was like cutting edge in 2006. Every problem we have, we're like, OnStar, OnStar.
Oscar, where should we go eat?
OnStar, help us. Okay, so that was the first trip. But here's what, that's not that amazing. What's amazing is through boyfriends and breakups and marriages and babies and moves and all the things. Now Beth is in Knoxville and Susan's in New York and everybody's busy and has busy lives. We have done a trip every year. Every year we can't count.
We're
What
on
year
year
is it?
15.
Year 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
And when we post pictures about it, whether we're at the beach or whatever we're doing, inevitably we always get comments like, how do y'all do that?
Yeah.
How do you go on this trip every year? And we're always like, isn't that amazing? Because to us, it's so normal. Like we make it happen. And it's not just about the trip. The friendships are all year long.
Yeah.
So I'd love to just kind of like unpack this for people and talk about what is, like from y'all's perspective, being a grown-up now and having busy lives and jobs and kids and all these other things. Like, let's talk about how your friendships, and not just starting 5, because we all have other friends too. We do have other friends. We don't act like it. But how have your friendships changed? Like, how do they look different in this stage of life?
Yeah.
And how do you still make them a priority? Like, still actually make time for them?
Yeah. Well, I was thinking about that on the way over here when I knew we were going to talk about this, and I was laughing to myself thinking about, back in our 20s, I could send a group text out at 4 o'clock on a Friday saying we're meeting here for happy hour at 5. 8 out of 10 people would be there.
Yes.
Now we plan things a month in advance.
Yeah.
We use the little app that figures out the best dates, and even then, you're going to lose people last minute because of kids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So right now it's definitely more of just planning ahead and making it a priority. And getting it on your schedule. Getting it on your schedule is probably the hardest part.
Yeah. Picking a date and then, like you said, committing to it because things always come up. But I think what's so interesting is one of those things where the planning, at least for me, and I don't know if y'all feel like this, but the planning feels hard. How can we find a time? And I don't know, I'm going to be tired and the kids. But when you get there, whether it's to dinner, whoever it's with, whatever the thing is, a party, someone's baby shower, whatever, it's like, it feels so good to be around girlfriends. You're like, I'm so glad I made it happen, even though it took all the planning, to start with. Sarah, what was
Well, I was going to say whenever, for our starting 5 trip, since we are all, busy moms, I know when Beth, one of the starting 5, gets there, her and I always spend the first day really sleeping.
You do.
So
we have our traditions. Sarah and Beth sleep, and Jenny and I.
We have our little date night.
We go on a date. We go on a little date. Just me and Jenny. We just catch us, go shopping. It's every trip, every year.
Exactly. But we still go, and I think it is, making the commitment. And I also think it's bringing in, other people, friends, family, whatever that looks like, to help with childcare or, just help move the schedule around for you. I think you definitely have to include other people, especially, at the stage of life that we're in. And
I think that, our friends and family, they see what a priority it is to us. Our husbands know that this is happening every year.
Right.
And then my mom, my mother-in-law, people are so encouraging of maintaining this friendship and this trip for us that it's easy to get help. They know they want to help support that.
Yeah. I think it's hard too probably for, people that are watching or listening that they haven't made time for friendships in the past and they want to. So you're kind of you're breaking a routine. We're not breaking a routine. The routine is the starting 5 trips. It was kind of like we joked on our last trip last year. I think Beth was saying this, or maybe you were, that she would bring something up. She's like, well, it's for starting 5. And everybody's like, oh, never, sorry, of course. Of course you're going to do that. It's almost like this trump card of it's a starting 5 thing. Well, by all means. Everybody just will align to make that happen. Right. But I think for someone that, they haven't had a girls' night or a girls' trip to go to their family and say, hey, I really want to do this girls' trip. That's probably going to be hard at first, but I love how you guys both said it's bringing those people in, talking about why it's important to you, and having them help you. Because you can't, you especially with kids, you have to have childcare, you have to have help and support. What would you say when you look at friendships now? And the reason I bring this up is I was just telling y'all this. before we started recording, but I did research last year and I talked to women at all stages of life, all ages. Some had kids, some didn't, some were married, some not, some were older, some were younger. And one of the themes that kept popping up was just loneliness. Like, these women were just lonely. They're like, I don't know how to make friends. And that made me really sad for them because it made me realize I probably take for granted that we have these friendships that we've had for a long time. But if I didn't, what does it look like, you know, to make a friend? What does it look like and what are you looking for in friendships as, you know, someone in our stage of life? So for y'all, when you look at maybe, you know, the last like 10 years or so, new friends you've made, how have you made them? Or what are you looking for? Like, what does that look like in some of those, you know, some of those friendships that are newer?
Well, I can speak to that because I know you can too, but, you know, I have so many friends from, you know, being single in Nashville and the time and the availability to pour into so many friendships, and then got married, moved away for a couple years, landed in Hendersonville, about 30 minutes outside Nashville, and staying at home with the kids more. And so it's a different phase of life. And I did kind of find myself there being like, I don't have friends that are in this with me. And so it's tough putting yourself out there to make new friends. And that's exactly what you have to do. You just kind of have to put yourself out there. And I mean, I found for me, finding friends that are in the same stage of life there, and, you know, not always you have to have friends that are in the same stage, but it is helpful. Like right now with young kids, I want play dates with my friends that can be there from 9 to 11 before nap time and understand that. And I think it's sometimes you just have to be the one that makes the first move, you know, and you know, set those play dates and things like that. And it's you know, you're feeling each other out and you're getting excited.
It can be awkward.
You're like, oh, this is going really well.
I like you. Do you like me? Okay. Should you phone number?
And, you know, we have been so comfortable in these lifelong friendships that, putting myself back out there was a little bit tough, but it's so necessary. You need friendships that give so much to your life that I can't imagine if I didn't have that. So I have experienced that lately of, okay, I got to put myself out there again.
Well, I will say that, and you were there too, but I will say you've done that because I went to your Halloween party. I drive to Hendersonville. Sarah and I show up at this Halloween party, and I'm like, there's 75 people I've never seen before. I'm like, I'm sorry. You seem to know my best friend. Who are you? Line up an interview if you're going to be friends with my friend. Like, it was like, you've done it.
Then you came out to like, who are all these people?
We're very exclusive, guys. We're very exclusive. No, but you've done it because there was all these people, and you're like, oh, well, this is so-and-so, and this is so-and-so. And I mean, but you and I actually talked about this on Marco Polo. We love keeping up on Marco Polo. That proximity is such a factor in this, too, because we're so close, but Sarah and I live closer. So, like, when I was recovering from surgery, Sarah came over and washed my hair. You're 40 minutes away. We're probably going to have to do a lunch date when you're running errands in the big city, Nashville. So proximity does come into play. You need people in your community, like for you, Hendersonville or whatever. Sarah, what were you going to say? Sorry.
Well, I was going to say that, like you were mentioning proximity, I mean, even like coworkers, even people like new to the office or just new to whatever your environment is, just reaching out to them as well. Because a lot of times, whatever you're feeling, somebody really in your proximity is also feeling that same way. So just also saying, hey, let's go to lunch. And, you know, you may not turn into these, you know, lifelong friendships, but it's like you said, you can really help speak to their loneliness they may be experiencing and vice versa. And I would also say, too, that I have several friends that are very close, female friends that are 15 to 20 years older than me. And I really love to reach out to them for them to say, you know, hey, here's what I did in your situation, you know, when I was, you know, in my mid to late 30s, you know, and also, too, even younger people, too. For me, I just like to be around people that have fun. So no matter how old they are, if, you know, hey, let's go to dinner or, hey, let's go out somewhere and go dancing, whatever it is, just keep in mind you don't have to limit yourself to just one, you know, one group.
Or people that are just like you.
Well, exactly.
When you're really good about that, too, because we joke about that of, like, you have all these friends. We're like, now, who is that? Like, we've never heard, who is that person? You have all the, you know, and different ages and from different, you know, different places that you've met them. When you were talking about, you know, like put yourself out there, I don't know if I told y'all this before, but I was at the playground recently down by our house, you know, where we go to Granbury or whatever. And there was this mom, and she just immediately started talking to me because our kids were sort of playing. And we just hit it off. Like, it was like she was just fun and funny and like quick-witted or whatever. I was like, I mean, you're pretty cool. So, I was like, but in my head, I'm having this internal dialogue of like, I want to hang out with her again, and I don't want to feel like a creep. Like, I'm like, so eventually I was like, started to walk away, and then I was like, I don't want to, so hope I run into you again, which you're not going to. So I was like, hey, you know, if you'd love to get together sometime, do a play date. She's like, yes. And we took it on each other's phone. And it was for sure breaking through that barrier of awkwardness. But at our age, if you want to hang out with someone, if you meet someone at a play date or your kid's school, man, you know, some of your kids are playing and you and that mom or you know, whatever, if you don't ask, it won't happen. So being willing to break through that barrier. Sarah, you mentioned fun. What are some of the things that are y'all's favorite things to do with friends? So like, I'll give you an example. None of us, but me and any of my friends, we never go to movies, not just because movies aren't happening, but like we love to talk. So like if we can be where we can talk, we will talk 100 miles an hour and all at the same time and still know what everyone said at the end of the night. But what are some of the things, like Sarah, you mentioned dancing. What are some things that y'all like to do with friends?
Oh my gosh. I mean, talk. I mean, that's it. Whether it's dressed up at the hot new restaurant or it's sitting in the living room in our sweatpants. It's just being together. Being together, talking and hanging out.
Which is what we do the majority of the Starting Five trip.
Yeah.
We just talk.
Yeah.
We just catch up.
I mean, we like our last trip, when it rained all day, we literally sat there, and all of a sudden it was 4 o'clock. And we were like, we haven't moved, but it doesn't feel like we haven't moved.
Exactly.
Just that time together, because it is so far between, you know, in this stage of life, that getting that time together to just talk about everything, you know?
Right.
But it's also, you talked about dancing, you know, like, I mean, I'm sitting here in my, you know, comfort loafers, but on a Starting Five trip, I have no problem putting on 5-inch heels and going.
Like that just making yourself dressed up.
Well, of course I will do that. Yeah, getting yourself dressed up, feeling kind of good.
Yeah, exactly. Put on a sparkle shirt. Yeah. Get a Halloween costume if you need to.
For
sure.
A
theme.
Do a party.
Always a theme. We love a good theme. We love to dress up. It's interesting too how, and we've talked about this before when we've gotten together, girlfriends do something different for you, like in terms of friendship, than even your spouse does. You know, it's like there's a different level of energy. Obviously, the talking, like Matt Wright has a very low threshold for my level of talking. Whereas we can talk nonstop, but there's also like this energy of feeling seen, feeling like, oh my gosh, she gets me, that enriches your life in a way that no other relationship does. Okay, so tell me at this stage of life, when you are thinking about kind of what it looks like for you this year, and what would you like to see in your friendships? Like deeper friendships, more friendships? Like I'll tell you, for me, one of the things that I would love to see, and I think I've talked about this before, but like I love couple time, you know, like where Matt and I can be with friends. We've talked about a Starting Five plus spouses trip, which would be very fun. But what are some of those things that you're like, gosh, this year I'm really excited about either going on this trip or doing this thing or whatever with friends?
You want to start?
Yeah, sure. I would say for me, I guess a goal would be just more deeper friendships. Just because, I mean, you know, you have to kind of prioritize maybe a smaller group at times, but just to do more meaningful things for each other, just to keep that connection. Like we're all lucky that we can always just kind of pick up where we left off, because we've been friends for so long, and we can rely on our stories from the past, you know. But I would say for maybe making new friends, it's like really spending in time, you know, investing, you know, in one or two people, and, you know, going to dinner with them, and, you know, just doing more things to like build that closeness, because I think you really get that really only with time and trust with other people.
Yeah. And like you said, that intentional connection, because it's like you can text and keep up, but like there's something about being together that makes such a difference. That's a really good point.
Yeah, I think, I mean, I hadn't really thought of it till you asked this question, but I have, you know, different groups of friendships that have been with me for years and years, and just investing in those and not taking those for granted. Like I think I've got a group of single girlfriends who bring so much to my life, and being in the, you know, stage with 2 young kids, sometimes I feel like maybe I neglect that, and they bring so much to me. And so, you know, making sure they know, like, I'm available and I want to hang out with you. Like, we're not like, oh, we're different places now, but like your friendship is still so important to me and brings so much to my life. And making sure I put investment into those relationships that maybe I haven't as much, just being in the thick of 2 little kids.
Because if you're not careful, like, you just get busy. Like, and you're right, Sarah, like, we're so lucky that we have, you know, decades of friendship where we can go 3 months without talking. We don't, but we could, and be like, immediately pick up where you left off, not miss a beat. But it really does take that time, because if not, life gets so busy and you just miss that, and you're like, man, it's almost like working out or going to church or anything else, when you go a long time without doing it and then you get to enjoy that again, you're back in the gym, you're back in church, you're back with girlfriends, like, oh, I forgot how much I love this. I forgot how good this feels. I forgot how important this is.
I would also say too, like, check in on your single friends. I think I've heard somebody, say that before, but And also the point, like we're at, we've got, friends that are, going through breakups or going through divorces and things like that. And I think, when you're in a relationship or you have that established family, it's just so easy to be like, okay, I've got my, my bubble over here and I really like that bubble. And then, there's some friends that you're really close to that you're like, oh, wow, like I can draw from like my past experiences and I'm like right back there with them and just asking them, those questions like, how are you doing? What are you going through? And, just giving them that room for them to speak and just to know that like you're recognizing like maybe pain they're going through or whatever it is. And also, being able to give them hope, oh, I was single for a long time too. Right. I never thought it would happen for me. And then it did, just encouraging them. Cause I think, for people that find themselves in that type of situation, maybe where they're more on their own, it's so hard to find that encouragement.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
I will tell you what I'm most excited about for this year. And I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on camera.
Oh, gosh.
Your wedding. We get to be bridesmaids, obviously.
Well,
bachelorette trip, vacations, wedding day, rehearsal dinner.
asked us to be your bridesmaids.
No,
You
I
did.
did.
Can we address that on camera?
I did.
No.
I think I did.
I'm just waiting for
You
the
didn't.
box delivered
She
with
didn't.
the butterflies.
No, she didn't. I'm glad we
I'm too busy. I'm too busy for
You
that.
didn't
Jenny.
because you texted. You told me you're like, well, I asked Lauren Reiser to be a bridesmaid. And I was like, did you forget anyone else?
Well, see, I keep kind of forgetting my wedding.
Wine glasses.
Exactly. I keep forgetting my wedding because it took me so long to get here that I'm a little bit like, oh, I am having one of those. So would y'all want to be my bridesmaids?
Yes!
Okay.
I am so glad we got that out of the way.
How many
I
people?
actually invited you here just so you would ask me.
How many people?
ambush situation.
I just want to know of all the weddings you've been in, how many people have invited you on a podcast in front of other people? So,
Hey,
this is your most favorite.
So it's been noted. You can't take it back.
I've been waiting for this moment. I knew it was going to happen. So thank you, Christy.
Oh, I'm so glad we could go there. Okay, before we wrap it up and go back to being normal and off camera, I've got rapid fire questions. Are y'all game?
Okay.
Ready?
Okay. If you have to
Maybe.
think about it, it's fine.
Okay.
But it's just fun.
I'm
No
nervous.
right or wrong answer.
Okay.
Favorite hair product? You mean go first?
What's it called?
Would that help?
What's that
Bumble and
hairspray?
Bumble dry shampoo is my
Yes,
favorite.
dry shampoo, L'Oreal, CVS, over the counter.
Well, this
You can
isn't
do it.
really a product, but I just got I think it's L'Oreal, like the blow dry brush.
Yes.
Love it.
That has like 30,000 5-star reviews. Like
Well,
I think like
there's a reason.
everybody loves that. Okay, similar favorite makeup product.
Oh,
KKW, I think that's Kim Kardashian West.
You were just
Bronzing
ready
kit.
with
Ready.
Ready.
With the initials. Mine's Becca highlighter.
I use the Bare Minerals like foundation powder, so you don't have to use foundation.
What was that concealer you texted us about the other day?
That
That
was really good. I can't remember the name of it.
Okay, great.
Sorry. It's really great though.
One thing you do just for you.
Take a long bath.
I do.
That's what I do. I take just a long
And you have no problem marcoing.
True story. It's neck up.
It's fine.
But
Keep
she
it on
does
camera.
give us
Let's keep rolling.
updates. She does give us updates.
I do. I mean, I do love to work out. That's probably my
Your favorite
thing.
Favorite
It's,
thing to do.
you know,
Okay, thing you are most excited about for 2021.
besides her wedding, obviously.
That's
We've
mine.
covered that. We've
I
covered
feel
that.
like that's mine. Yeah.
If I say this on air, maybe it will happen.
Okay.
Home renovations.
Hey,
Charlie, are you watching? Charlie, are you watching? We're just making
It's
things
official
happen on
now.
the show today.
It's official.
Yo, this is so fun. I know I rope you into anything. Jenny, I have roped you into races, Warrior Dash, marathons.
So many things.
What was the thing recently
So
I
many
posted on Instagram where it was like a picture of me from the
It
Warrior Dash?
was. It wasn't Warrior Dash.
No, it was.
Oh, it was. Okay.
And you saw it.
And I saw it. And oh, I didn't do that with her. I can't believe it. And then I scrolled, and there's a picture of me and you covered in mud with those like Viking helmets. And I was like, oh, I did do that.
Oh, I did do that. That she did rope me into that. But yo, this is so fun. I mean, we
fun.
literally talk about how much we love our friendship
Right.
off air all the time, and but we do make it a priority. And so I just wanted to allow people to hear from you guys and how we do it, and also get to meet you. So thanks for leaving your real lives to come be on this set and hang out with me.
Sure.
Thanks,
Love
y'all.
it. So fun. Thank you.
We were drawn to Christian Healthcare Ministries because we both had young families and we wanted to have more children. And we had also just started a real estate company and needed to find healthcare coverage that would meet our needs. We were attracted to CHM because of its low monthly costs and the ability to negotiate medical costs down.
Established in 1981 and accredited by the Better Business Bureau, CHM is here to meet the needs of your growing family or small business. Check us out at chministries.org.
We absolutely believe in it.
All right, y'all, that was so fun. I hope you enjoyed getting to hear from my real life best friends, Jenny and Sarah. I loved getting to share with you not only some memories, but some real takeaways of what it looks like to be a friend, to have a friend, to make friends as a grown-up. I know it's not always easy, but it can be done. You know, whenever I think about my friendships and I think about the people that I spend the most time with, the people that I can lean on, that is something not only I'm so grateful for, but it's something I want for you. And I don't know if you have friends that you've been friends with since high school or college, or maybe new friends that are in your circle of influence, in your church, in your community, in your neighborhood. But I hope you have them. And if you don't have them, I hope you find them, because friendships are so important in life. I think God can actually use our friends to speak to us, to love us, to support us. You know, one of my very best friends since third grade is named Sarah Wright. And I know that Sarah and I have a million memories together. Funny memories, weird memories. I mean, we've been friends since we were 8 years old. But there was a day, a couple of years ago, when I was actually driving south on 65, and I got the phone call from the doctor that the video they saw of my son was really concerning. They wanted us to turn around and take him immediately to the ER. He'd been having some weird symptoms, and the doctors were really concerned. They said, we need you to get to Vandy, and we need you to get here now. That moment was so scary to me. I didn't know what I was gonna do. I didn't have childcare in that moment. My mom wasn't available, but I knew that I could call Sarah. I was able to call Sarah and have her pick up my other son, Carter, from school. She left work to go pick up my son, Carter, from school. Didn't ask a question. She said, I got him, he can spend the night. It may seem like a simple thing in hindsight, but in that moment, it meant everything to me that I had someone to call. I had someone to call. I did not have to think twice about it. I knew that she would be there. I knew that she would drop everything to help me because she's a friend. That's what I want for you. I want people that will be there for you, people that you can laugh with, people you can cry with, people you can share your life with, celebrate your milestones with, celebrate your wins, and have them pick you up in the hard times. Just people to hang out with. You know, one of my friends that I've become really close with recently is my friend Nikki, and that's just because we work out together all the time. I see Nikki more than I see any other friend. So you know what? I've gotten to know Nikki. I've gotten to become really good friends with Nikki, someone that wasn't one of my best friends years ago. We've now gotten to know each other really well, and we really enjoy each other. We really support each other, and we go through life together. You know, you're gonna have different types of friends. You're gonna have different ways that your friendships play out. They're gonna look different in different seasons of life, different frequencies, and different friendships will do different things for you. You might have a neighbor that serves a specific role in your life, and you guys love hanging out in the evenings after work because, man, y'all just walk to each other's houses and it's so easy and fun and y'all enjoy each other. You might have a workout buddy. You might have a best friend from third grade that can be there for you no matter what you need. You might have friends from work or church. You might have new friends or old friends. I just pray that you have friends. I pray that you have great friends. I love how Ecclesiastes talks about the power of community. This is in Ecclesiastes 4. And it says, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good return for their work. If one falls down, his friend can help him up. But pity the man who falls down and has no one to help him up. And if 2 lie together, they will keep warm. But how can one keep warm alone? Though one may be overpowered, 2 can defend themselves. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. I love this reminder of the power of friendships, the power of community. You know, we weren't created to live alone. No person is an island. And even if you have your family and your family unit, maybe your spouse, maybe your parents or your in-laws, your kids, that's awesome. But in addition to that, I pray that you also have great friendships. All right, I want to give you some journal questions to consider as you think about this for your own life. Your first question is this. What are you looking for in friendships right now? What do you need? What's stirring in your heart as I'm talking about this topic and giving you lots of examples? What comes to mind for you? What are you looking for in friendships right now? Write down your answer. All right, number 2, I want you to think a little bit more specifically now. Maybe you have some friends that you've walked with forever, but you're in different life stages. Maybe you have some friends in your work, but you don't have friends in church. I want you to get a little bit more specific and think about what are some specific friendships or types of friendships that you desire? What is an area of your life where you go, man, I really like to make some friends there? I'll be transparent. I would love to make some friends at my church. I feel like I don't know the people at my church as much, especially after the year of COVID, and we're watching everything from home, online. They don't have childcare, and I feel so disconnected from the church community. Gosh, I would love to make some friends in our church community this year. What about you? Let's get more specific and think about what types of friendships do you desire this year? Write down your answer. And lastly, what's one specific step that you can take to grow your friendships or improve them this year? I gave you 4 specific things you can do earlier. Which of those do you want to take action on? Which one stood out the most? Or maybe you have a different one entirely. What's one thing that you want to do to improve your friendships this year? Write down your answer. All right, I would love to pray for us as we wrap up. God, thank you. Thank you for friends. Thank you for the different types of friends that we have, for the ways that you love us through our friends. God, thank you for this important aspect of our life of community. We were not created to live alone. God, thank you for reminding us of the power of community. And God, I pray for every single person watching or listening right now. I pray that you would make them feel loved. I pray that you would surround them with support, that you would bring people into their life that would love them and encourage them. I pray that you would make friendships effortless for them. I pray that if they are thinking right now of ways that they want to seek out friendships, that you would make it easy, that you would open doors, that you would put people in their path that are the perfect person to be their friend. God, thank you. Thank you that you care about this aspect of our lives, and thank you that you care about us. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you all so much for joining me as always, and you can tune in next week for another episode of The Christy Wright Show. For more encouragement on building confidence in yourself and the God that created you, you can visit ChristyWright.com.